you were doing consulting, and you ended up working on Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth at EA as a consultant, right?
Yeah, briefly.
But
briefly.
wasn't that the project that EA spouses?
Yeah.
Yes. So for those, this is a long time ago. I actually did a little research. I forgot how buried this is in the internet. But for those who don't know, EA spouse was the fiance of a programmer on Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth, and she wrote a live journal, which is still up, that explained how horrible the working conditions were at EA and how they were working these people to death, and they weren't getting compensated, which brought crunch to the forefront. But you weren't a full-time employee, right? You just came in.
Yeah.
And you did whatever you had to do.
Yeah, I was a contractor. I was a contract coder, and my job was to like speed shit up. It was just a bloated, slow game. And so I came in and I was profiling, coding, profiling. And they were doing this shit where like they were getting Jamba Juice, and that was kind of considered your half meal, and then they would buy dinner. So you basically were expected not to leave, and then you were expected to come in on weekends. And you know me, I'm not very authoritarian compatible, you know, and they would tell me like, oh, well, we need you to come in Saturday and Sunday. And I'd be like, oh, no, I'm not doing that. But they didn't take that very well. And of course, it set a really poor example for all the coders that did have to come in well. But I remember like how psychologically damaged they were. Like that for fun, the coders would come around with those, you know, those thick rubber bands, not the little skinny ones, but the fucking like half inchers. And they'd come up at you point blank in your back and just beam you in the back. Like, pain, sensation at last, you know? And I was like, oh my God, they're becoming numb. And then every night they'd have a play test, where they'd play the current build for a while, and then they'd do a big meeting afterwards to kind of like talk about where shit's at. And I remember, this was what struck me as being so different from id, is that we went in there afterwards and there was this group think just from people death marching for so long. They were trained not to rock the boat about fundamental issues with the game. And so I was like, hey guys, this is not fun. You've got some serious frame rate issues that make it unplayable, and you know, this is too fiddly. And I was very quickly shut down. Like, thou shalt not speak this way about the game. We're here to talk about actionable shit that we can deal with our fried brains on this death march. And yeah, dude, that was surreal and horrific.
That was basically, I think, the game because of. Now, did the EA spouse thing happen after you left, after you were done your contract?
Yeah.
But that changed, I think, game development forever. That was even though crunch still exists, it's now a known thing, and it changed the laws, and it changed how people get compensated. Like maybe I'm wrong, but I kind of feel like today, in a lot of studios, people actually get compensated. They still crunch, but people are actually kind of compensated now in some studios for it.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I think it still exists, but
yeah,
you know, I don't know. But like, so you first, did you know the EA spouse's now husband? Did you work with that person at all? No, so you don't even.
I mean, maybe I did.
You don't. Oh, you don't even know. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. So because it was a big team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were the days.
Spouse, the whole thing was that it was like anonymous, semi-anonymous.
For a while, but I think now they know who she is and who he was. So but that.
It's a nice office.
Yeah, I mean, I knew other people who worked there and had similar stories from different projects there. It was just. That was the era where EA was thought to be unstoppable, and now it's kind of like EA's like, oh, they're EA. But back then, they were like the Borg.
They really were.
And people, I guess, didn't want to question anything because it was EA, right? They're working there.
It was great for contracting work.
Right. As a consultant, you find that freeing, right? It's like, did anybody like hate on you a little bit at the office because like the rules didn't apply to you?
Yeah, mostly my manager. I put my manager in an uncomfortable position. But I think one of the main coders, I seem to recall he was German or something. I didn't get the sense that he really appreciated my presence there. But what coder wants to see a contract coder and come in and optimize his code? Like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
But,
well, how did you get that? I mean, did somebody call you like we're in trouble? Like, how did they find you? In 2004, there was no LinkedIn. Like, how did they find you?
I don't know, but I've never really had an internet presence. So
Yeah.
it's always been word of mouth type
Interesting.
stuff. Yeah, it's always been, hey, how's it going? And then you end up talking about some random shit, and then suddenly like, oh, there's an opportunity for me to work on something cool.